There are new concerns tonight from Metro riders who worry whether they would make it out during an emergency on the tracks. Tisha Thompson and the News 4 I-Team report now on what they uncovered when they started asking what would happen if someone in a wheelchair needed to be evacuated. How would they get them out of there?
Kelly Mack uses Metro every day to commute to work. She asked us to come along with her to look at this.
No way.
The entrance to the safety walkway at the end of the Farragut North Metro station.
There's absolutely no way my chair would fit on this.
Kelly says she realized this evacuation path isn't wide enough for her standard-sized chair and is cut off by stairs. She noticed it after last month's incident when one woman died and many passengers self-evacuated after being trapped in smoke-filled cars.
It's very worrisome. It doesn't sound like there's a real good plan for people in general, much less people with disabilities like myself.
This is an emergency tunnel evacuation cart. Every Metro rail station has these in the stations.
When the News 4 I-Team asked Metro what would happen if someone in a wheelchair needed to be evacuated from a tunnel, Ronald Bodmer explained rescue crews can use these e-tech devices to roll up to the end of the train.
It only weighs 160 pounds, yet can hold 1,000 pounds of capacity on it.
Metro says all local fire departments are supposed to get evacuation training. News 4 was there when the Fairfax County Fire Department learned how to use the e-tech last summer. DC Fire tells the I-Team all members are to be trained on the e-tech, but it couldn't provide any training records for this specific item within the past 2 years. Instead, it gave us training photos of the MIRV, or Motorized Emergency Recon Vehicle, which it says can get to trapped passengers in less than 4 minutes, and the Turnell Universal Rescue Cart, or TURC, which DC Fire says was designed with Metro in mind because it can fit between rails and over electrical boxes. But the I-Team found all of this equipment could require leaving the wheelchair behind.
The doorways on the ends of the trains really aren't wide enough for a full-size wheelchair to get out of it.
I'm terrified for them. I would not know what to do.
Dara Baldwin with the National Disability Rights Network says she's particularly concerned about C-spine or quadriplegic riders because they can't be easily separated from their chairs, which provide life support.
You would have to leave that person who's a quad or someone who can't move and shouldn't be moved. You would have to leave that person.
Metro says fire departments should have special stair chairs to transport quadriplegic riders.
They could transfer them from their wheelchair to the stair chair to get them onto this cart to get them back to safety.
But DC Fire told the I-Team in most incidents, the process of removing all or most of the ambulatory people from a train will be done first, due to that process being quicker than the removal of non-ambulatory people. In regards to self-evacuation, those who are non-ambulatory will need the assistance of the fire department because the width of the walkways within the tunnels is 22 inches and will not provide ample space for a wheelchair.
I depend on my wheelchair. I'd have to depend on other people.
At the Farragut North Metro Station, Tisha Thompson, News 4 I-Team.
Metro points out that no one should ever self-evacuate from one of their trains unless they are in imminent danger.
If you commute to work in the D.C. area, you know how hard and aggravating it can be.
But tonight, Tisha Thompson and the News 4 I-Team take you on a journey
to show you how a short commute has turned into a lifetime battle for a woman who is determined not to be left behind.
Kelly Mack is one of the most upbeat people you will ever meet.
I'm pretty easygoing, pretty laid back, and, you know, I have a pretty sunny disposition.
But there's one thing that really gets her down.
Excuse me. A lot of times I have to make my presence known. I have to ask for space. I have to say, excuse me.
Battling rheumatoid arthritis since she was 2 years old, Kelly can no longer walk and uses a wheelchair to get around.
Everyone's stressed, they're rushing to commute, and I think really a lot of people haven't given a thought about how difficult it might be for people with disabilities to actually use Metro.
Kelly contacted the News 4 I-Team to help her show you what she and many others like her go through every day. We hooked her chair up with cameras and followed her as she navigated a maze of elevators.
And sometimes I hear people grumble when I'm getting on first and they feel like they've been waiting, and I say, this is the only way I can take Metro. I don't have a choice. I cannot use the escalator.
At the Woodley Park Metro station, we watched as she tried to get to the front of the line, only to be cut off by a stroller. Sometimes, she says, people won't even let her on, won't look her in the face as they leave her behind. As she caught in these pictures she started taking on her daily commute.
That elevator was designed and put there for people with disabilities.
Dara Baldwin with the National Disability Rights Network says it's okay to use the elevator if you have a stroller or luggage, but if you see someone with a disability who cannot use the escalator, you need to let them board first.
The fact that you have used up an equipment that was specifically made for them to get around in, and you're taking it first before they are taking it. That is what you're doing. You're taking away that person's civil, human, and ADA right by doing that.
Which is why when you get on a Metro elevator,
please give priority to senior citizens and persons with disabilities before using this elevator.
You will hear an announcement and see signs telling you to let people with disabilities and seniors board first. Kelly says she needs to go in first to maneuver her chair so it will fit into Metro's elevators. Metro just launched a new campaign reminding riders to give priority to the disabled, the elderly, and pregnant riders. In a statement, Metro says because many disabilities are not visible, it's important you don't challenge the person asking to go first in line or to sit in that priority seat.
There are times when their train is so crowded I can't get on. There are times when it's very difficult for me to find the right spot to get on the train.
And while there are days people hop off to let her in, most days, she says, she feels like a piece of furniture.
I've had people lean on my chair or rest their bag on me or my chair, and it's kind of uncomfortable to have to say, please don't lean on me, I'm a person. You have to laugh, or otherwise you'd cry.
Which makes you realize, as bad as your commute might be some days, Kelly's commute is challenging every day.
Everyone knows life's got its challenges. We can treat each other a little bit better and think about each other, and it's not that hard.
Something to think about from a lady determined not to let others get her down by preventing her from going up. At the Farragut North Metro Station, Tisha Thompson, News 4 I-Team.